Stop everything you're doing. I'm dead serious. Close those other tabs, turn off the notifications, and give me your undivided attention for the next few minutes. What I'm about to reveal is the kind of information that separates the spectators from the strategists, the kind of shift that creates a whole new class of millionaires while leaving others wondering what happened. Gang, lean in so close you can almost hear the tectonic plates of the tech world grinding together. What I'm about to show you today is not just another stock pick. This is a monumental, once-in-a-decade shift in the entire tech landscape, happening right under our noses while most investors are asleep at the wheel. If you're still blindly staring at NVIDIA's chart, praying for a miracle comeback to its all-time highs, you are not just missing an opportunity, you are actively watching the future pass you by. Just now, Meta, yes, Zuckerberg's Meta dropped a nuclear bomb on the AI world. They officially decided to spend billions of dollars to buy Google's TPU chips, not NVIDIA's. Let me be crystal clear. This is a betrayal of the highest order. It's like your most trusted general defecting to the enemy army with all your battle plans. This isn't just a minor order. It's a seismic event that signals a catastrophic loss of confidence from NVIDIA's most important customer base. Let that sink in. This isn't just a simple purchase order. This is a declaration of war. This is the moment the ground shifted. The king of AI hardware, NVIDIA, the stock everyone thought was untouchable. Its fortress walls have just been cracked wide open by its own biggest customers. I can already hear the comments, but NVIDIA is the king, it's invincible. My friends, that is the most dangerous phrase in investing. This time is different. That is exactly what they said about Blockbuster, about Nokia, about BlackBerry. The graveyard of business is filled with companies that were invincible. And today, we are witnessing the first, unmistakable crack in the armor of a modern-day titan. The question is, will you see it as a buying opportunity for the past, or as a warning siren for the future? In this video, I'm not just going to give you a stock ticker. I'm going to show you the evidence, the data, and all my receipts. We're going to break down the macro environment, the industry logic, and the smart money flows to prove exactly why Google is positioning itself to become the new AI powerhouse, and how you can potentially position yourself to profit from this historic transition. This isn't about one stock, it's about understanding a trend that will define investing for the next 5 years. So, buckle up. Alright gang, before we dive into the stocks, we have to look at the weather. You don't go surfing without checking the waves, and you don't invest without understanding the macro climate. And people, the climate has done a complete 180. For the last 2 years, why did NVIDIA become the golden child? Sure, Jensen Huang is a legend, but there was a bigger reason. High interest rates. When the Fed is hiking, money gets scared. It gets expensive. It doesn't want to bet on long-term risky stories. It wants safety. It wants what's working right now. And who was working? The picks and shovels guy, NVIDIA. Selling chips, instant cash flow, a sure thing. So everyone piled in, it was a defensive play. But listen to this. The wind has shifted dramatically. In mid-November, even the Fed's most hawkish member, Christopher Waller, basically signaled a U-turn. The market is now pricing in an 81% chance of a rate cut in December. 81%. That's not a maybe. That's an almost certainly. What does this mean? The liquidity taps are starting to turn back on. When money becomes cheaper, it gets ambitious. It gets hungry. It's no longer satisfied with just the hardware margins. It starts looking for the companies that can build entire ecosystems, that can create compound growth, that can tell the exponential stories. Think of it like this. For 2 years, we've been in a storm. Everyone huddled inside the safest, strongest looking house they could find that was NVIDIA's house. But now, the storm clouds are parting, the sun is coming out, and people are starting to venture outside. They're not just looking for a safe house anymore. They're looking for fertile land to build entirely new cities. That land is the AI application ecosystem, and Google is the company that already owns the blueprint and the construction equipment. This is the perfect macro backdrop for Google's rise. Google isn't just hardware. It's search, it's YouTube, it's cloud, it's the whole package. It's like we've moved from only investing in the company that sells bricks to now having the confidence to invest in the company that builds entire skyscrapers and collects rent for decades. Add to that the warming US-China relations, the high-level talks that just happened. It's taking a huge geopolitical risk off the table for big tech. So the game has changed. The market logic has flipped from defense to offense. And the smart money is starting a massive migration from pure-play hardware makers to the platform giants. This migration? It's only just begun. Okay, so the macro wind is at our backs. Now, let's get into the nitty-gritty of this epic battle. Google versus NVIDIA. A lot of people have this huge misconception. They think the best chip is the one with the biggest, baddest raw computing power. That's linear thinking. In the real business world, the winners are decided by two things: efficiency and cost, period. NVIDIA's H100 is a beast. It's like a genius-level, incredibly complex Swiss Army knife. It can do everything: graphics, AI training, AI inference, you name it. But because it has to be good at everything, its design has redundancies. That makes it expensive and power-hungry. Now, Google's TPU? This is a surgical knife. It's an ASIC chip, custom-built from the ground up for one thing, and one thing only: machine learning computations. It strips away all the extra fluff. It is a specialist. And the data doesn't lie. In AI inference tasks, Google's 4th-gen TPU has 30% lower latency than the H100. Running TPUs on Google Cloud can be up to 25% annually. That's not just savings, that's an entire new R&D budget. That's the budget to hire 1,000 top AI engineers. That is a competitive advantage so massive, it's impossible to ignore. It's like your biggest competitor suddenly getting a 25% head start in a race. You either adapt or you get left in the dust. For a company like Meta or OpenAI, who are spending tens of billions on compute every year, a 25% saving is not just a nice to have, it's a strategic imperative. It's billions of dollars straight to their bottom line. This is why Zuckerberg made this move. This isn't about friendship, this is cold, hard business logic. But the real, deep battle is about the ecosystem. NVIDIA's model is hardware plus software tools. It's brilliant, but it's dependent. It relies on its customers to build amazing applications. But what happens if those customers can't monetize, or worse, decide to build their own chips? NVIDIA's moat suddenly looks a lot shallower. Google is playing a completely different game. It's running an application-defined hardware loop. Google has the applications Search, YouTube, Android with billions of users. It feeds its own Gemini AI into these products. The real-world demand from these apps directly informs how the next TPU should be designed and optimized. This is the ultimate feedback loop. Every time you search on Google, every time you watch a YouTube video, you are unconsciously helping Google design a better AI chip. It's a self-improving flywheel that NVIDIA simply cannot replicate. NVIDIA sells shovels to gold miners. Google is the gold miner, and it's also selling more efficient shovels to other miners based on its own first-hand experience. Who do you think is going to build the better shovel? This closed loop, this self-sustaining ecosystem, is what NVIDIA dreams of but can't have because it lacks those massive consumer-facing apps. The result? We're seeing a dimensional shift in business models. NVIDIA is now facing pressure from clients doing in-house chips, and there are whispers of inventory building up. H100 inventory days are creeping up. That's a red flag. Meanwhile, Google is executing a triple play. First of all, sell TPU chips to Meta. It's absolutely make money on hardware. Second, rent out TPU power on Google Cloud. That is, make money on infrastructure. And final, use superior AI to make search and YouTube ads more effective. It's make money on applications. In Q3 2025, Google's AI-related revenue hit over $20 billion with a 68% gross margin. That is absolute insane. It proves Google has already built a profitable end-to-end AI machine. The first half of AI was about who had the best guns. NVIDIA won that round. The second half is about who has the best aim. And Google, with its ecosystem, is aiming right for the bullseye. Alright, the logic is solid. But talk is cheap. Let's see where the real money is voting. This is my favorite part. Following the footprints of the smart money. If you just look at the headlines, you'll see people screaming, buy the dip in NVIDIA. But if you dig into the institutional holdings and fund flows, a different, much clearer picture emerges. Throughout November, we've started to see a noticeable divergence. Google is seeing significant net capital inflows, while NVIDIA has been experiencing consistent outflows. The big players, the institutions, they are quietly repositioning. This is the quiet before the storm. The retail investors, the crowd, they are still chanting NVIDIA, NVIDIA on social media. But in the boardrooms of the world's largest hedge funds and pension funds, the conversations are different. They're asking, what's the next leg of the trade? Where is the growth after the hardware? And their computers are quietly executing the orders, shifting billions of dollars from the old leader to the new contender. They're not emotional. They're not loyal to a brand. They are loyal to performance. And right now, the performance story is shifting towards Google. And here's the kicker, the beautiful part of this trade. Let's talk about Broadcom. When the Google TPU news first hit, Broadcom's stock dipped slightly. I saw the comments, but I thought Broadcom was Google's partner. Why is it down? I said it then, and I'll say it now. That was AK knee-jerk, emotional overreaction from the weak hands. The market misread the situation. And what happened next? On November 25th, Broadcom stock shot up 11%. 11%! Why? Because the smart money finally digested the news. They realized, wait a minute, Broadcom is the critical design and manufacturing partner for Google's TPUs. If Google is about to sell a boatload of TPUs, Broadcom is going to make a fortune. A JP Morgan report predicts the Google TPU project could bring in over $10 billion in revenue for Broadcom in 2025. This is what I mean by being the toll booth on the new AI highway. You don't need to bet on which car company wins. You just collect the fee from every car that passes through. This is the beauty of a paradigm shift. The biggest fortunes aren't always made by the new king themselves, but by the loyal lords who supply the king's army. In the California gold rush, the people who sold the picks, shovels, and Levi's jeans often made more reliable money than the majority of the prospectors. Broadcom is in the business of selling AI shovels to Google, the company that just struck the motherlode. This is the smart play. Instead of chasing the crowded, overvalued trade, the capital is flowing to the true beneficiaries of the next phase of AI, Google, and its key enablers like Broadcom. Okay, gang, you've seen the macro shift, the industry logic, and the money flows. So, what's the play? How do you position yourself in this historic transition? Listen carefully. This is where risk management is non-negotiable. No ticket, no veto, do the D, trust, but verify. This is not financial advice, this is my strategy. First, let's be clear. Do not go all in. Do not YOLO your life savings. This is a thematic shift, not a lottery ticket. For the steady players, look at Broadcom. It's the picks and shovels play on the Google TPU story, but with a much more reasonable valuation. At around 22 times earnings, it has a solid safety net. My strategy? Wait for a pullback towards the $345, which level near its 5-day moving average, and then scale in. Set a mental stop loss around $330. This is for those who want exposure but are more risk averse. For the aggressive players, a Google Plus Meta combo is a powerful way to play this. You're betting on both the supplier, Google, and a major adopter, Meta. For Google, I'd look for an entry on a pullback to the $300 support area. For Meta, watch the $600 level. Use a trailing stop loss method. If the stock runs, you keep raising your stop to lock in profits. Never let a winner turn into a loser. For beginners or those who want easy diversification, don't even bother with individual stocks if you're not comfortable. The best move is a tech ETF that has heavy weightings in Google and Broadcom. Or look at other players in the ecosystem that haven't run up as much, like Amazon. Set up a monthly automatic investment plan and forget about it. Time in the market beats timing the market. The most important thing right now is to have a plan. The worst thing you can do is watch Google run to $318 and then FOMO in at the top with no strategy. That's how you lose money. Be patient. Be disciplined. The best opportunities often come to those who wait for the right setup. The trend is your friend, but only if you don't jump on its back right as it's about to take a breather. The opportunity in the next 1 to 2 years is clearly in the Google ecosystem and AI application layer. If NVIDIA can't break into the application side, its road is going to get much, much tougher. Gang, we need to talk about the biggest enemy you will face in this trade, and it's not the market, it's your own psychology. We are all wired to extrapolate the recent past into the indefinite future. NVIDIA has been a phenomenal winner. It's natural to believe it will always be that way. This is called recency bias. It's what causes investors to pour money in at the top and sell in a panic at the bottom. I'm asking you to do something very difficult. I'm asking you to sell the narrative that has made people money and buy the narrative that is just beginning. This will feel uncomfortable. When your friends are talking about their NVIDIA gains, you'll be talking about Google's ecosystem. They might call you crazy. That's fine. The biggest investment gains are always made by those who are willing to be crazy before the trend becomes obvious to everyone. As we wrap this up, I want to leave you with a thought. The business world is ruthless. It doesn't care about past glory. 20 years ago, Nokia was the undisputed king of mobile phones. Their phones were tanks. But then Apple came along with a touchscreen and an App Store ecosystem. Nokia didn't lose because it made bad phones. It lost because it got outflanked by a higher dimensional business model. It lost the paradigm war. The moment of truth for Nokia wasn't when the iPhone was launched. It was when app developers started flocking to Apple's platform, when the ecosystem became more valuable than the hardware itself. We are at that exact same inflection point today in AI. The question is, are you going to be holding Nokia or are you going to be holding Apple? Today, NVIDIA is an incredible company. But if it remains just a hardware vendor, if it can't build its own application moat, it faces an existential threat from a full-stack giant like Google. This isn't fear-mongering. This is the reality of technological disruption. As investors, our biggest mistake is fighting the last war. We get attached to the past winners. My goal today was to rip off the blinders and show you where the next wave is building. The AI revolution is far from over, but the captain of the ship might be changing. The question is, do you have the right ticket? If this deep dive opened your eyes, if this kind of evidence-based analysis gives you an edge, then do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss our next breakdown. Let me know in the comments below. After watching this, are you sticking with NVIDIA or are you making the switch to the Google ecosystem? What's your top tech stock for 2026? I read every single comment. Gang, if you're in, show it. And as always, stay sharp, manage your risk, and I'll see you in the next video.